Hey, 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 it's Sarah Jane. I'm coming to you from a lot of pocket packing boxes. We've had a brilliant day. Everything's off the truck. And I just wanted to say it's day 12. It's about appreciating the moment, appreciating you, appreciating the beautiful view. And let me see if I can turn this around so that you can have a better view of Naisna instead of me. So welcome to day 2. Give me a sec. Let me see if I can turn this around. There you go. That is the view, the room with the view. Naisna head's over there. I'll give you a little, have a look. The sun's going down. We've still got a lot of unpacking to do, but we're doing okay. It's a beautiful home. We've even got them inside. That's the electrician. We've got a power and geyser tripping everything at the moment. But that is, we're doing okay. We've still got a long way to go. But this is my client's exquisite, beautiful house. I should call them friends because all my clients end up being very special to me. So we got a bit to go of the packing. But I will allow you to celebrate the moving in the next chapter of my client's life. Busy. Unpacking, getting the beds, everything together. So this is taking you back to this house was built in 1924. So it's a really beautiful old colonial darling. And there's the pool. And I think I'll just take you down the steps with me. And I shall sit here. It's getting a bit chilly now. So there you are. I look like I've been moving all day. Packing and moving furniture and carrying on. So let me know. What did you say, Christina? Awesome. So I'm gonna make it quick because we've got a lot to do before the sun goes down, and I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you. I appreciate you joining me, actively appreciating for the next 28 days. We're on day 12 today, and to ask you, how are you finding it so far? Isn't it beautiful, Christina? So tag a friend, give me some love, give me some hearts. I'm holding my phone today, so you've got this long view of me. But I wanted to just ask you, how are you starting to deepen into the practice of just appreciating whatever arises, being flexible because plans change. The removal people actually were about an hour and a half late today, and there's always something to appreciate. So I just took myself off. I actually sat on this pool deck and I just did my early morning meditation, looking at that exquisite view over there. So yeah, you know, are you still amongst the busyness? I think it's so important for you to just deepen into your practice and just noticing, are you starting to feel more incredible and light and amazing? And that it might also feel a little bit weird for you. But the longer you do this, you're just going to start to notice that there's just more of an energy that's always available to you. And that is the energy that just aligns with nature, with everything. And it's just this beautiful, creative, slowly feeling amazing, expansive growth energy, isn't it? You know, just you can feel it. It's around you all the time. You're totally supported. It's in the air. It's available for us to connect. And when you start to just close your eyes and connect for a while, you don't just connect. You actually become the energy. That's the oneness and contribution. It's just like you are no longer separate. And I want to know how you're starting to recognize that your mind has nothing to grab onto the more that you actually start to appreciate the now. Because when you're sitting in your head and you're in your mind, you're not even aware of the energy that's going around you or around a crazy place, you know. In your head it's just crazy fight flight all the time, it's in fear all the time, and it's trying to figure out everything. It's always in the past, always in the future. It's just stressing, and it's totally unaware of this beautiful universal energy, you know, the natural law of circulation. And it's just so much more of what we are, isn't it? And that's the beauty of meditation, of pushing pause, so that you can stop your mind from stopping you from actually feeling like you are totally and utterly supported. And the reason that you might be finding it hard to just slow down and push pause and appreciate is because you're sitting in your mind thinking that you are your mind, and then you don't have an identity, and you're just like gulping for air all the time because you feel like everything is falling apart. But it's actually the story of you that's falling apart, Christina. So just notice, you know, that underneath this, what did you say, things, I'm so happy to hear that, because you're not your story. You know, underneath all of that, as much as there's craziness going on here, there's electricians, there's busyness going on around me all the time, I can be totally present, connected to my body, and in some kind of coherent way move my energy through this transmission to you, through this broadcast, through love, through an open heart. It's always available for you. And the more that you appreciate that you are love, the more open you are to love people for no reason. The mind can't interfere there, and there isn't that emotional entanglement anymore. And it's not that it has to be a certain way or specific. And we were talking about flexibility yesterday, because then you just start to see the world as love sees it, and everything's just trying to unfold and find and raise the frequency. When you think things are falling apart, or it's a shambles, or you're never going to get the boxes unpacked, and when are the people going to get out, and all this stuff where we're going crazy in our mind, or maybe you're seeing other people going a little crazy in the world, you know, whether it's Trump or Zoomer or the government or whatever, they're going to learn whatever lessons they need to learn, however they need to learn them. And we're all asking for that, aren't we, so that we can fall back into ourselves. And maybe that's always that internal thing. We're going to see it as projection outward. And the more that you can just slow it down, I almost see things as if they're in slow motion, and the energy just becomes fun and expansive and a beautiful experience. And you know, you win in life, don't you, when you start to realize that your target, right, whatever you're aiming for, is it gets even better when you get love from the inside first, rather than going out there and trying to chase things from the outside. And when you connect to the inside, then you can love every moment of unwrapping, like today, unwrapping things, meeting guys that have just driven this truck all the way from Cape Town, and appreciating that everybody is just in this organic flow of in and out, just like breathing. And everything has flow. You know, there were no hiccups. Everything just flowed, because the intention is set your inside first to say, this day is going to unravel in the most beautiful and miraculous way that I have no idea or comprehension how much greater it could be than what we had visualized. And I was like awake until 2 o'clock last night, thinking about today. And so was my friend, and so was her husband. And you know, because there's this anticipation, isn't there, of, well, what if something goes wrong, or what if they forget, or what if things are broken? And we have to get out of the what if and back into the present, and then use that time piercing. So just tapping in and time piercing. Everything is in divine and perfect order. Everything worked out better than we could have imagined. And now we get to, I have the pleasure and the privilege of actually blessing this house and blessing all the things. And because and that's another thing, by the way, I always ask my things to take care of themselves. You can ask your house when you go out to work. Ask your animals the same. Ask your stuff. Could you just look after yourself and look after, you know, house, look after yourself while I go off to work. And that's when you really start to see that everything is exactly doing what you asked it to do. I'll never forget, a friend of mine actually said, well, he actually asked his stuff to look after it, and his wife and him were going through quite a nasty divorce. I don't know, they were fighting about a lot of stuff, and they'd separated the things out. And he said they'd had some big tremor in San Francisco, and all her stuff broke. And she said he had this magnificent, beautiful Ming vase on his dresser, and it had fallen off of the dresser and protected itself. It landed on the carpet, and it hadn't broken itself, but there were a lot of other stuff that was hers that had got broken. So you can ask your things in your house to actually look after itself, and it will, just as we need to ask our bodies to look after itself. Hi Roxanne, nice to see you here. How is it going with the appreciation? I think, hi Roxanne, so good to see you all. So just remember, an addiction is scrolling through Facebook trying to find love, using alcohol trying to find love, creating trauma, drama, and emergency is trying to find love. These are all the ways that we addict, instead of going inward and actually starting to look at, this is my priority, to put my internal compass, set my compass first. And you can think of it a little bit like money. I know Osho said something about, that like if a couple are getting together and they really want each other, they don't really have the connection, and they're looking for somebody else to fill them up. That's kind of like getting two broke people to get together, as if the other one's going to give them money, or wanting certain things to be a certain way, or they want something, and then they both get really, really scared because they see that person as the source of their money, or the source of their happiness, or the source of their love. So when you start with the connecting with yourself first, it's like you make that deposit, you fill yourself up. Like I said a couple of days ago, it's like, if you're not full of yourself, who are you supposed to be full of? So if you're willing to have money come play with you, if you're willing for your things to look after you, you don't need other people to give those things to you. Hi Cal, can you give me any advice on coming up with a motive? As some say, target clarity. Kyle, give me some more information. I'm not quite sure what you are asking me here. Can I give you? Well, first of all, I don't give advice, because I think advice is abusive. I'm willing to share what I know with you, but could you speak some more about what you mean? Can you give me any advice on coming up with a motive? Okay, so I need more information, and I will come back and look at that before. So any advice to how you get back in flow? Stop looking for your answers outside of you. It's a great question. So what is the value of stopping, okay, let me just tap into this, Christina. So what's the value? Because you really can't stop energy. You are energy. You can't stop energy. Energy goes in and out and around you. You're made of energy. So what is the value of thinking that you are out of flow? So where are you making yourself wrong, thinking that you're out of flow, rather than actually appreciating that whatever it is that is maybe not moving in the direction or the pathways or showing up in the way that you want it to, is actually it's not stopping energy. I'm just trying to get a feel of how to say this to you in a way that you will really get it. Ask yourself, what's the value of, or the punishment of, you seeing it as a wrongness rather than a strongness? We can't stop energy. Like I said yesterday, things happen for a reason. If you, and I know that sounds pretty cliche, but hi Elena, nice to see you. Stop looking for your answers. Exactly. Yeah. And also remember, a lot of times we look for other people to give us an answer, like what should I do? What do you think I should do? When actually, how do they know what to tell you what to do? They can't tell you what to do. You know you better than you. You know your body better than you. But we are kind of trained and programmed to not trust our bodies, to not trust that we know intuitively what we need. So we ask other people advice, which is, to me, abuse, because that person, and you might want to go back and listen to the other days trainings, because we talked about this a while ago of, first of all, you have to acknowledge what it is, and if you don't know what it is, ask, what is this? Does it belong to me? Is it even mine? And then get a feel of the energy. Is it heavy? Is it light? Use the tools. This is why I call it training, because you have to come back to your heart and you have to practice. You have to do the training. I'm running all over the place again. I'm a little distracted. There's a lot going on here. So remind me what I was talking about. Resistance. Yeah. So what do you love about resisting flow? Well, maybe you get what you want, and remember, your body's going to make you right. And the universe, for me, you know, the external environment is always a reflection of what's going on internally. So it's like, if you're for me, if the outside is cluttered, and I mean it gets in a mess, I know that is often an external reflection of me being cluttered on the inside. Or often, if the outside is a mess, and I know it's not temporary, like right now, I'm okay with this because we're moving in, and there's boxes and there's things that need to find their place. So that is not what I'm talking about here. What I'm really saying is the resistance that you create, it doesn't take you out of flow. It's actually just the contrast of flowing, where you're still in flow. You're just pushing, it's like pushing a rock uphill. So I hope that makes sense. I kind of lost my train of thought there. There's a lot of people walking around and I'm trying to focus here. So Kyle, if you want me to answer, you know, what do you know isn't a conclusion. Stop looking for answers that are conclusionary. Most of the time we're looking for someone to say it's this way, you know, okay, here's a good indication of it. What is the opposite of black? So if I was going to ask somebody, what is the opposite of black? Most people, because we're learned, it's like 1 + 1 is not 2, but that's what we're trained. So we're trained out of integrity, out of alignment with what we know intuitively, because there is a crazy, insane standard of what that's supposed to look like. So what if the opposite of black is actually unblack? What if the opposite of white is actually unwhite? What would change in your reality if you had no point of view? Like I think Roxanne was talking about menopause the other day. If you did not have an identity or some kind of description or conclusion about what that was, would it actually affect you? Would you align and agree, or would you resist and react, or would you just say, wow, body, in the menopause example, oh wow, I'm feeling a little hot right now. Hey body, what's going on? You know, what do you need? And support it from that place. So, you know, I think that's really key. And when you start looking at just appreciating what you are and who you are in the moment, that you're never the same, and you're never you know, stop trying to look for sameness. This whole thing around appreciation is stop expecting, so that expectation again, and the decision and the judgment and the conclusion and all the thinking that you've done about, well, that must be so. Why? Ask your body. Use your body as a pendulum. Use your body's yes and no to give you what you need, and then move toward it and see where you land. And I know, I feel like the whole point that repetition is so good is that sometimes we just don't get it, right? Sometimes we're not ready to hear it. Sometimes we want to be right. Sometimes we want to defend our point of view. This is why we have to appreciate everything and love everything that arises, which is what this challenge is really all about. Questioning your brings clarity. Yeah, so also, you know, the quality of your questions, there's no right or wrong questions, but like the why is not a good question because you're just going to go round and round the rabbit hole. So you really want to look at, you know, what is required here? What do I need to look at? What do I have to do in order to get? Those are great generative questions. Is this going to be a contribution? If you get a no, don't keep resisting it. Move on. Ask a different question. That's what I love about working with animals, is that they always are like, you know, could you just say what you mean? You know, horses, you can't, as human beings, we are so used to giving sort of double innuendo in everything that we do, and sometimes that looks like sarcasm, sometimes it looks like hurt, sometimes, you know, sometimes it looks like projection, but animals are like, you can't ask a double negative or a negative and a positive in the same question. It's just like, what do you want? Go back to the basics, you know, go back and honor the process. Absolutely, it's your process. It's nobody else, it's your life. So, you know, if somebody's, and how well has that always worked? You know, when people or our friends actually ask, what should I do? You got to be aware of who you're asking, because most people that love you the way that you are don't want you to expand and love yourself and get bigger or change, because they like the predictability of who you show up and be. So there's always a lot of fear around it, especially you guys who've really been deepening into the practice of taking time out and appreciating everything that arises. When you let go of that old identity and that old story, things are going to change around you, and that is sometimes, like we were saying, either you're misidentifying excitement as fear, or it's a misidentification and you're getting screwed up. I'm glad this is helpful, Sarah, Louise. My younger sister's called Louise. I love, yeah, it's introspection, right? Into me, see, it's that intimacy that we need to sometimes push pause when things go a little crazy around you, and just allow yourself to have a moment to say, wow, okay, what is this that I'm feeling? And the clear and open communication as well of people in your life to actually say, you know what, I'm feeling a little something weird going on here. Can you help me? That's a really generative question. And if you haven't downloaded the boundary, how to set healthy boundaries, just put boundaries underneath, and I will send you the link, or you can scroll to the video feed of where we did the boundaries appreciation. I think it was a couple of days ago. And start asking those generative questions, so that you can really start to see, what is this fear of others seeing you change? Well, it's part of, and that's a great question. Thank you for asking, Heather. So think about it like it's part of Maslow's theory, actually, and it's part of being human. Is we're afraid of change, and yet we need change in order to grow. You know, we need to follow the seasons. So if it's getting cold, you can't resist against the fact that it's getting cold. You just need to be flexible enough to prepare to not be not be cold. I mean, I took my boots off just now. My feet are telling me it's really cold. It's time to put my boots back on. So people don't like you to change because they like the predictability of it, especially if there's often a manipulation involved. So if they can't manipulate you the way that they used to, does it make sense that they would have to up the ante? They would have to change how they're getting you in, guilt tripping you or whatever they're doing in order to get you to do what they want you to do. So, it's maybe not so much, I hope that makes sense around that, but they're afraid that you're going to change, that they're going to leave you behind. Remember, a lot of this for me, working with trauma and the nervous system, really does go back to that pre-7-year-old. The fear of falling. We only ever have two fears as human babies: the fear of falling and the fear of not being fed. That's about it. It's not a lot more that we're afraid of, but the falling, it's the abandonment, the rejection. That's why people don't want you to change, because they can't manipulate you the way that they used to. And just remember, that's people that are controlling the world like that, and they can't control you if you understand who you are. So biggest way to stop addiction, stop codependency, stop what's going on in the world is just tap into the love that you already are, and just know you're already free. You get to choose, and you have the power of choice. And what I'm learning more and more is the other side of fear actually is chaos. And that's why meditation is such a beautiful place to tap into, because that's the expansion of love and creativity, and it's a big byproduct where you can't be addicted anymore to those old fears, because when you are filled up of yourself and abundant in that feeling, you're going to have more money, you're going to attract money, you're going to attract people that lift you up, because you're not in codependent relationships anymore, because you're full up. So you don't need to be so hyped up, because you're relaxed and you're connected to your heart. And sometimes I mess it up, sometimes I don't always get it right, but there's a lessening of being more judgmental of other people and what their choices are and what they're doing in the world, and you just get to be more and more free with every, you know, every moment. And that's why I say move inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. 1 degree turns, that's what we're doing, building the momentum over the next 28 days that you can sort of deepen into this. All right, I will go back and listen to this. Please give me some hearts. Tell me this is resonating. Tell me this has been worth, you know, worth your valuable time. I know we all have busy lives, but to just tune in every day. Let me know if this is helpful and what you need. And if you have any questions, I will go back in and answer them all. I will give you my insight. I won't give you an answer to any questions that you have. And if you know someone that could benefit from this, please tell them about it. Share it on your pages, share it with your friends, let them come and join you. We're not supposed to expand in a vacuum, right? We need tribe, and we need connection, and we need people to actually see us in love when we can't see it for ourselves, when we're being a little bit too judgmental. Okay? And you know, that's kind of all I wanted to sort of share with you today, that there's just this love that's already it's always existed, and your mind has been shielding you from that love and trying to get love in the physical things that it can see, but not in love with who you are and what you are. So I really want you to just appreciate connecting more to who you are, and I love whatever arises. And that's about it. That's what I wanted to say to you today. I'm going back to the boxes, back to the packing, and we're going to have our first glass of wine with the angels to celebrate my friend's homecoming, coming back to her heart, to the heart of a beautiful place and a beautiful home that is so full of love already. They're just the most amazing family. They love and love and love, and my friend Nicole is just the most beautiful woman. I am so appreciative of being able to be here for her and support her, because she has supported me so many times in my life. In fact, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be speaking to you, because the last time I tried to kill myself was at her house. So I'm so grateful to her, to her husband, to her family, for letting me in, for allowing me to support and serve as best I can for the ground, for the home, for the things, and also just do a lot of the physical muscle work with her. So appreciate who you are. I love you guys, and I will see you back here tomorrow. I'll be in Plett. I'm going to visit some doggy and cat clients in Plett, so I might be a little late, but I hope you tune in and join me again. All right, I love you guys, and I appreciate you more than you will ever know. Have a beautiful rest of your day wherever you are. Bye. Mwah.